Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We've relocated to my study. We're going to continue with Act 3, Macbeth. What do we have in this scene? We have, it starts with, Thou hast it now, King, Cawdor Glams, and I fear that thou paid most foully for it. That's Banquo's quote saying he suspects Macbeth has probably done something that he shouldn't have done in order to make the prophecies come true. This is the moment where Macbeth starts to question Banquo about his plans. You know, is it far you ride? Is Fleance going with you? Kind of cementing his plans for the murder which takes place later. It also has Macbeth's third soliloquy, where he says that there's no point to all of this if he can't be safe in the situation that he's in. He talks about the fruitless crown and the barren sceptre in this scene. Remember, we spoke about that in class as well. That's meaning that, you know, Banquo's sons will be king. So therefore, it's useless. Things that he's done so far have been pointless. He also talks to the two murderers and asks them, you know, to do the deed for him, the deed of killing Banquo and Fleance, because Banquo is their enemy. At least that's what he tells them. Scene 2 is Lady Macbeth. She's also starting to have her doubts. She says things like, "Naught's had, all's spent, where our desire is got without content." So she's starting to think now along the same lines. Perhaps this wasn't worth it after all. At the same time, she's still trying to kind of keep her husband calm. You know, when he's starting to talk about his doubts, she says, you know, what's done is done. There's nothing we can do about it now. She's being quite philosophical. It's also the reintroduction of the idea of sleep. And certainly in terms of Duncan, Macbeth says, you know what, Duncan sleeps well now. He's safe. He's dead. He can't be touched now by treason or poison or, you know, foreign invaders or, you know, anything else. You know, he can't be harmed anymore, which is in Macbeth's current state of mind a good thing. Duncan is kind of safe, which is interesting as well, because as Macbeth later says, his mind is now full of scorpions, and he comes up with all sorts of sort of dark imagery in this part of the play. And he also kind of talks for the first time with his wife about Banquo's murder, or the plan, and Lady Macbeth's quite surprised. This is the first time she's kind of been shut out of the plans, and this is I suppose what I spoke about in class is the beginning of the moment where she starts to lose control of her husband. Scene 3 is the murder scene. Fleance escapes, of course, so that has an impact on Macbeth's reaction in scene 4, which is the important scene. It's the top of that pyramid that I spoke about in class. It's the middle of the play, and it's the scene, of course, where Banquo comes back. He does not fail the feast as he was asked to do by Macbeth. Macbeth talks about Fleance's escape and saying, well, you know, he's not a threat to us now. He will be when he's older, but at the moment I shouldn't really worry about him. And then, of course, the ghost of Banquo appears, and Macbeth, of course, freaks out. You know, which of you has done this? And thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me. You know, that bloody image. You know, don't look at me like that. And then there's the whole Macbeth and his wife. You know, you're quite unmanned in folly. You know, you're acting like a fool, an idiot, a coward. You've kind of lost control of the situation, and lords are all looking around thinking, you know, what's happened to the king? The ghost disappears and then comes back again, and then when he disappears for the second time, Macbeth says, you know, being gone, I am a man again. And at that point, I suppose he perhaps comes back with slightly more purpose, because at that point he starts to say the things like, you know, blood will have blood, and I am in blood stepped so far, and yet we are yet but young indeed. So there's a more kind of purposeful turn to his phrases when he comes back to him, when he becomes himself again. And at that point he also says, I'm going back to see the witches. I want to find out what they have to tell me. There's more that they can tell me about this. Scene 5 is the Hecate scene, which we didn't discuss in class and may or may not have actually been written by Macbeth, by Shakespeare. And scene 6 is similar to the one with Ross and the old man in the last act. It's Lennox talking to another lord, and it's more or less a kind of, if you like, a comment, quite sort of sarcastic commentary on Macbeth's innocence. Now the lords are starting to realise that Macbeth is probably anything but innocent. There's lots of important lines in this act. You know, there's the first one that I mentioned, "Thou played most foully for it" by Banquo. There is, you know, "They hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown," etc. What else do we have here in our book? Yeah, "It is concluded, Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it tonight." That closes scene 1. Again, it's a rhyming couplet, a heroic couplet to end. We've got Lady Macbeth's double couplet. "Naught had all spent where our desire is got without intent. To safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy." So these are important lines as well. Obviously, which of you has done this? You're quite unmanned in folly, etc., etc. So just have a look through the different ones that we spoke about in class, and in terms of quotes, you'll be okay. There's also the introduction or the reintroduction of the sleep is taken slightly further with Duncan, and we'll see that return again in the later acts. But that's all for Act 3. I'll see you in Act 4.